Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Today, we're going to be breaking down last night's three-game NBA slate. We're going to be jumping into a little bit of course, our slate recognition, talking a little bit about some of the tournaments that we do have over on FanDuel as well as DraftKings. We have a monster 11-game slate coming up. It's going to be a really fun day in DFS today. Baseball's really starting to kick off a little bit. We've got some of the World Baseball Classic going on. That's pretty cool. Of course, normally the first thing I would do is jump into a Core 4 review. That is where I break down the Core 4 plays of the day. But today, or last night, excuse me, it was only a three-game slate, so I did not issue out a Core 4. My suggestion is the way I play is I stack. And if you did stack the Washington game right, as well as some of the Dallas guys, maybe some Julius Randle in there. You definitely did see the cash line running. Of course, if you didn't have Westbrook, man, it was very hard to cash. We had some really, really solid scores in the sweatshop. Some guys did double up their buy-ins, make some money. So that was a really nice time for us here in the sweatshop. Wasn't a profitable night for me. I ran about 5 lines across both sites. I had 3 on DraftKings, 2 on FanDuel. All of my DraftKings lineups crashed. Nothing happened there. Did not have Ian Mahinmi as I should have. We talked about him in last night's show as well as chopping it up as we do all day. And a lot of the guys in the sweatshop were on this man, and they really were. So I had a couple of lineups on FanDuel. One of them did cash. So it wasn't a very profitable night for me, but that is why sticking to our bankroll management strategy is so key. I play no more than 10%. I try to play no more than 10% on any slate and any endeavor that's DFS related. But if I really am not comfortable, if I'm really not feeling the slate, if it's a very small slate, I may play 5, 2%, which I did play today, 2% of my complete bankroll. So didn't lose much. Still am exceedingly profitable for the week. Had a really good Monday. But we're going to have an awesome Wednesday. And really quick, man, there's some very solid tournaments out on FanDuel and DraftKings. We got some $1 million pots. I know on DraftKings there's a $33 buy-in. It is multi-entry, so you will be swimming with the sharks. Those guys going to have in some spots 100 lineups, putting a lot of money on the line. But that's what we are here to do. We're here to go ahead and take that money. So do not be afraid. Feel free to jump in there and that $33 buy-in and get a piece of that $1 million pot. I know on FanDuel they've got one that's a little bit more affordable. It's an $8 buy-in. It's also multi-entry, so you're going to be swimming with the sharks again. But you know that's what we have to do here. That's why we all stick together. That's why we meet up for the midday mix each day when we have a really nice slate, a larger slate. I go ahead and jump in the midday mix. That is with the VIP Facebook family. I do open it up to Twitter after I discuss the core 4 and the roster builds that we go through. And if you wanted to, if you check us out on Twitter as we let you inside the midday mix and you like what you're hearing, but you want to hear the first part, go ahead and hit up the website, man. Come see us at www.dfssweatshop.com. Upon your paid subscription, you will be ushered into the best Facebook group in DFS, man. There's a lot of bright minds in there, a lot of great guys in there. Derek Patterson, man, the homie, Jason Gunnarsson, Jay Fab, Nate Cleverly. There's a lot of solid cats in there, man, that know a lot about NBA DFS, a lot of MLB, NHL. Just the perfect place to go if you're just starting out or if you've been around for a while but you need some like-minded solid cats to kick it with. That is an awesome group. It is hands down, bar none, the best we do have on Facebook. So we've got some really nice single entry tournaments on FanDuel, ranging from $1 to $100. So go check those out. Those are ways to separate yourself from those more shark-infested waters. We've got a few of them, quite a few of them on DraftKings as well. And these sites, they should pay me for the way I'm directing y'all to go in and patronize them. So if you're watching this FanDuel, if you're watching this DraftKings, hook your boy up. Hook your boy up. It's all in fun, man. It's all in the name of DFS, and we are going to get to the money this week. Started off the week pretty good, as I said. Tonight, played lightly, did not do as well as I planned, but that's why we live to fight another day, man. We don't throw it all in. When we win money, we're not going to give it all back. We're going to stick to our bankroll management. That's what we're going to do to remain profitable players. I want you around for the rest of the season. I want you to roll into baseball with me. So keep those bankrolls intact and make sure. I cannot impress this upon you enough. And I'm talking specifically to the guys that are in the sweatshop VIPs, the guys that are subscribed to the website. I need you to use all of the tools. We released these stack sheets today, and they were awesome. They were on point. Every day we're gonna come out with our player pools, the spreadsheets with the DVPs and the rankings and what they scored against the last time they played this specific team. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. The core four, the roster building strategy, the tutorial videos that are on the website. You've got to use all of this, and the most important thing is to get inside the Facebook group and get active. I want you to chop it up with these guys, man, because I'm telling you, these are the brightest minds in DFS that we have assembled in order to help you to become a profitable DFS player. Let's go ahead and jump into the feature for players of the night. These are the four most talked about, tweeted about guys in the DFS sweatshop, in the Facebook VIPs, as well as on Twitter. We're going to start with the Who Dat. Scoring all them points over there, player tonight. This is going to go to Ian Mahinmi. And I wish I could find a post in the VIP where a dude was like, yo, you got to get on some Mahinmi. And we know that this is a guy that's minutes has been trending up with the recent decline in play of Marcin Gortat. We saw Mahinmi come in and get solid minutes, log really solid minutes in his time off of the bench. And foul trouble really helped him to flourish in his fantasy game today. And at 1% owned in the single entry GPPs and about 8% owned in the multi entries, 3K was the salary. He went out and Bismack Biyombo'd on him. 43.25 DraftKings points is what he got. And we're going to see this again because Gortat is not playing very well, period. He's not playing very well. And while this guy is 3K, we've got to take advantage of that because you look at Bismack Biyombo right now, he's at 5.5K on DraftKings, right? So there's going to be no more of that, oh man, I got a guy at 3K that's going to go off and 10X on him. That's not for Bismack anymore. Now it's on Ian Mahinmi. So we've got to pay attention to him going forward until his price gets up to a place that we can't really afford to roster him. But tonight, he is the Who Dat, scoring all them points over there, player of the night. The next guy I'm going to talk about is going to be the How Did I Miss That play tonight? Now, this is a play that I was not on at all. I'm just going to be honest with you. Actually, Cat hit me up and like, man, what do you think, man? I'm thinking about Markieff Morris. I'm thinking about Julius Randle. And I really don't tell cats who to play. I just tell them who I'm playing. And I'm like, yo, I have more Markieff than I have Randle. Actually, I don't have any Randle. I have Markieff in two of the three lineups I have on DraftKings. And I should have had Randle because he went the fuck off. How the fuck did I miss Julius Randle today? Logged his fourth triple-double of the year. Went out at 23% owned. 6.1K was the salary. He logged 55.5 DraftKings points. That was an excellent game from you. How the fuck did I miss that? Julius Randle is that play of the night. The next guy I'm going to talk about is the Heat Check play of the night. And you know what? Forget the fact this is the highest salary guy in NBA DFS on both sides. Forget that. Forget the fact that the dude scores the most points most of the time when he's on the slate. This dude goes out and fucking balls. This dude, I saw this dude today get a rebound and go coast to fucking coast, like finished at the rim ahead of a guy who was backpedaling. I mean, this dude is a fucking monster. And I'm talking about Russell Westbrook. The dude was 32% owned in most GPPs. 13.4K was the salary, so he was definitely priced up. 82.75 DraftKings points, right at 6.1x value. If you can get that from this guy, this dude is a phenomenal player. A phenomenal player. And this guy is so good that we're not going to really understand what he's doing until his career is over. I mean, what this guy is doing is exceptional. Awesome player, awesome game tonight, and that's why you tonight are the Heat Check player tonight, Mr. Russell Westbrook. Thank you for your contribution to the DFS Sweatshop and all of us all of them really having solid nights. The next guy we're going to talk about is that one motherfucker. Now, we have to talk about this one motherfucker because not only did this guy have a bullshit narrative going, he was on a team that was definitely in the highest total game, probably the best all-around offensive team, where we knew that more people are involved on his team offensively than any of the other 5 teams on the slate. We're talking about you, Markieff Morris, with your old snowflake ass. How the fuck do you go out at 28% owned? 6.6K was your salary, and you brought, 6.5K was your salary, and you brought back a measly punk ass 11.5 DraftKings points. You a motherfucking snowflake with your old snowflake ass, and I ain't gonna roster your bitch ass again. I mean, you pissed me off tonight. What a horrible, disgraceful showing. What? That's the worst basketball I've seen from you so far this year. That was horrible, despicable. And tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake with your old snowflake ass. Let us get on with the rest of the motherfucking show. Now, snowflake ass motherfucker. Now, just really going to continue to impress upon you the importance of jumping in the single entries. Now, there are roughly 1,500 of us living, breathing, thriving DFS Sweatshop members. Most of these tournaments go anywhere from 3,000 to 25,000. If we jump into single entry GPPs, we are so deep in numbers. And while we don't share our lineups, we don't do that because that's collusion. That's wrong. We let the sharks and the larger sites do that bitch shit like that. We don't do that. We don't share lineups. We share strategy, right? We have different lines, different cores, different plays that we like. We all work from a similar pool of players because you all watch the show. We all chop it up all day. If we hit on our individual cores, mix and match with the plays that we talk about in the midday mix, they can't hold us. They can't fuck with us. And we've seen it. We've seen it where you look at the top 50 in a single GPP, and 25 of them are sweatshop. So let's get back to our single entry grind. Let's keep that the driving force behind the sweatshop and what we do as it comes to taking over the DFS world, especially in NBA, because that's the season that we're in right now. So let's go ahead and jump into a brief recap of last night's 3 games. The reason why we're going to recap these games is because maybe you didn't get a chance to watch them all. I just finished watching the last game, and I want you to really understand the play that is being described as I go through the recaps. A couple of these teams are going to be on the 11-game slate today, so you've got to know what's going on and what happened. We're going to start in Oklahoma City, where the Portland Trailblazers came to town. They did beat OKC. It was a 126 to 121 score. We're going to start on the Portland side, where we saw Noah Vonleh for 21 minutes. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, while shooting 83% from the field, hit 1 of 2 free throw shots. That was a pretty solid game for a guy that was that low priced. Maurice Harkless disappointed in his 28 minutes. He had 6 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Was looking for a much larger game from him. I was not on Jusuf Nurkic at all. I just don't like him as a player. I don't think he's very good. I think he got shunned in Denver because he just wasn't very good. And I just don't like his game. I don't like the way he plays, so I don't roster him very much. And that proved to be a solid move tonight. At 24 minutes, he had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, while shooting 41% from the field. CJ McCollum, he did score 21 points, but he only had 2 rebounds to go with that. Not a great game there for CJ McCollum. Saw a fairly decent NBA game, but not a great fantasy game from Dame Lillard. You could have faded this team altogether with the exception of Allen Crabbe. Lillard had 22 points, 3 boards, 8 assists, 1 steal, while shooting 47% from the field. He had 2 of 6 3-point shots and hit 4 of 5 free throws. Allen Crabbe was actually the best player in this game, man. In 28 minutes, he had 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists while shooting 70% from the field, hit 5 of 7 3-point shots. That was an excellent game you saw from Allen Crabbe. Al-Farouq Aminu off of the bench for 29 minutes. He had 12 and 7 with 1 steal and 3 blocks. Pretty decent game there for him. On the Oklahoma City side, we talked about the heat check player tonight already. That was Mr. Russell Westbrook. He led the team in minutes with 35, had 58 points, a career high 58 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. He shot 39 times, hit 21 of them, 53%. Also went to the line 16 times, converted 13 of those tries into points, and hit 3 of 9 3-point shots. A monster game we saw from Russell Westbrook. Pretty solid game there for Victor Oladipo in his first game back from injury. At 25 minutes for him, he had 16 and 5, 55% from the field, hit 4 of 5 3-point shots. Pretty solid game there. What the fuck is going on with Steven Adams? When did Steven Adams morph into, or from a decent big man to this ogre who just hacks the fuck out of people and does not play good basketball. Like, when the fuck did this happen? He's been playing fairly well most of the year, and down the stretch, he's just non-existent in games. 28 minutes, he had 4 points and 3 boards to go with. Excuse me, only took one shot in the entire game. He did hit it, but he took one shot the entire game. Horrible, horrible game there. Andre Roberson in 35 minutes had 9 and 6. Also shot 57% from the field. And one thing that I'm seeing about Andre Roberson, man, is when Vic Oladipo is back in the fold, and all Roberson has to do is kind of play defense and rebound, and maybe score when he's around the basket wide open. He makes for a really solid play, and his price is gonna stay around 3K somewhere with Vic Oladipo back playing on the team and playing well. As a matter of fact, didn't see much from Enes Kanter in his 17 minutes off of the bench. He had 11 points, 7 boards, and 1 assist. Not a great game from him. And Domantas Sabonis played 20 minutes. He had 8 points, 4 rebounds. Not a great game there for him. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Dallas Mavericks at home hosting the LA Lakers. Really solid game we saw from a couple of the Lakers, man. We're going to start with Julius Randle. How did I miss that play tonight? He led the team in minutes with 35, had 13 points, 18 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, while shooting 37% from the field. Could have had a much better shooting day. Did hit 7 of 8 free throws. Pretty solid game there. We saw 35 minutes of Brandon Ingram. He had 13 and 4 with 5 assists. And usually, whenever there's a game on a small slate like this that I don't like, I usually stack the game that I don't like just to see what happens. And I failed to do that, and I should have done that. That would have been a really excellent strategy. A couple of guys in the shop did it, and they really had solid games. Shout out to Chris Barth, man. Chris Barth had a really solid night too. D'Angelo Russell in 33 minutes, he had 22 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, and 4 steals while shooting 47% from the field. He hit all 4 of his free throws and hit 2 of 6 3-point shots. Jordan Clarkson in 34 minutes had 22 points, 2 assists, also hit 4 of 8 free throws and hit 9 of 16 field goals for 56%. Pretty solid shooting day for Jordan Clarkson. Swaggy P in 20 minutes had 13 and 2. He took 8 3-point shots, only hit 3, but he did grab 4. He did dish out. Excuse me. He did grab 2 boards and he shot 40% from the field. Not a great game from Nick Young, but it definitely helped you if you were stacking on the Lakers side and you had him in your Lakers stack. On the Dallas Mavericks side, Yogi Ferrell, man. Yogi, a lot of cats in the shop was on Yogi, man, and I just couldn't bite. Yogi played 32 minutes. He had 16 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, shot 66% from the field, hit 2 of 4 3-point shots. Nerlens Noel doubled in his 22 minutes off of the bench. He had 11 and 12, with 1 assist and 3 blocks. Pretty solid game there for him. Dirk Nowitzki, man, 25 and 11 to go with an assist, a block as well, and he just reached a major milestone in his career, man. They fed him the ball early and often in the first half. He got it done in the first half and had a pretty solid second half. Pretty good game we saw from Dirk Nowitzki, man. He only played 24 minutes and he caught wreck. And what a great career. What a great career, man. Dirk Nowitzki was one of the greatest that I've had the pleasure of watching play in all of his years in the NBA, man. And he still can shoot the jump shot. Really cool guy. Great hair. Beautiful wife. Awesome for the big homie Dirk Nowitzki. Quinn Cook in 16 minutes had 10 points, 3 assists, and 1 steal. I don't know if that means too much to look out for. We also saw Lil Bra, Seth Curry for 30 minutes. He had 18 and 2 to go with 5 assists and 1 steal. And Wesley Matthews in 25 minutes had 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists while shooting 55% from the field. Pretty good game there. The only guy that really didn't get a shine on was Harrison Barnes. He played 34 minutes, had 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists while shooting 42% from the field. But this game was kind of over before it was over, so we didn't have to see a full run of minutes from a lot of the starters. So the last game on the slate is going to be the Phoenix Suns, and a very entertaining game, very close game down the stretch. It was a good one. The Phoenix Suns were playing host to the Washington Wizards. Wizards won by 4 points, but this was a really entertaining game. Very good game. Let's go ahead and start on the Washington Wizards side. Really slow start we saw from John Wall. He did lead the team in minutes with 37, and he had 25 points, 4 rebounds, 14 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks while shooting 45% from the field. Took 3 3-point shots. Didn't hit any of them, but he had a bad shooting day from the charity stripe, man. 58.3% was what he shot from the free throw. He hit 7 of 12. That's not good at all. Bojan Bogdanovic, and yesterday's show, I said just play Bojan. This dude is fuego. Like, he's just balling out right now. He had 29 points, led the team in scoring, 9 rebounds. He shot 16 of 16 from the free throw line and 3 of 6 from behind the arc. Excellent game from Bojan Bogdanovic, and he just fits in this offense, man. He is exactly the punch they need off of the bench because most of the time he's in the game, there's no pressure. He comes in. His job is to try to chuck them back in if they're down or if they're up, just try to keep them from not losing the lead. So the dude is in a really solid spot. This is probably one of the cushiest jobs for a shooter like this around the league, man. Awesome showing we've been seeing for Bojan Bogdanovic lately. Saw a really solid game for Jason Smith in 23 minutes. He had 17 and 6 to go with 1 assist and 1 steal. Ian Mahinmi in 25 minutes had 15 and 9 with 1 assist and 7 steals. Also blocked the shot. Defensively, this dude is the truth, man. He is really a great defensive player. He needs to get more minutes. Martin Gortat in 19 minutes had 6 and 3 to go with 1 assist and 1 block. We saw a pretty decent game there from Bradley Beal. Not a great fantasy showing though. In 32 minutes, he had 27 and 3 to go with 2 steals. Shot 50% from the field, hit 2 of 5 3-point shots. Horrible game from Marquise Morris, yo snowflake ass, as well as Otto Porter. Porter in 24 minutes had 2 and 7 to go with 1 steal, and Marquise Morris had 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Not a great game at all from those two guys. On the Phoenix Sun side, TJ Warren is continuing to play well. He played 29 minutes, had 15 and 10. Nice double-double. Also 3 assists. He shot 53% from the field, hit 1 of 2 3-point shots. Marcus Chris only played 26 minutes, 9 and 5 to go with 1 steal and 1 block. Not a great game there from him. Alex Len in 21 minutes starting at center. He had 8 points, 11 boards, 1 steal, and 4 blocks. Pretty solid game we saw from Alex Len there. Devin Booker dropped 25 points, also had 4 rebounds and 6 assists in his 37 minutes. And Eric Bledsoe had 30 points, 3 boards, 5 assists, while shooting 9 for 18 from the field. We saw Alan Williams off of the bench double-double in 24 minutes. He had 15 and 10 while shooting 55% from the field. So overall, it was we kind of predicted this slate, right? With yesterday's show, we did predict this slate, right? But just didn't come to fruition for me personally. Although a lot of cats in the sweatshop got to the money, that's all that really matters. Let's go ahead and jump into a quick player pricing for tomorrow's 11-game slate. And this is where my player pool is going to come from. I'm going to look at this list of players, and I'm going to already be like, yo, no, or yes, I'm fuck with him, or no, I'm not fucking with him. This is why we do this. This is why we go through the player pricing, play by play, player by player. We don't go position by position because a lot of people they go position by position, and it kind of throws you off. Like it doesn't do any justice to what to the way things should be. Position by position is just throwing a bunch of names at people. When we go by price point, we can automatically X guys out that we don't really like. So let's go and open this up, and we're gonna do some quick slate recognition. Of course, it's a huge 11-game slate, but I think we're gonna have some turbos in it that we can grab a hold to. Let's check it out. We got 11 games starting at 7, and I took off tomorrow. I am off from the restaurant, so I will definitely be in the midday mix. I've got a couple of early appointments at the barbershop. I'm going to knock those out, come home, jump into the midday mix with you all, and then we're going to ride from there into the 7 o'clock tip-off, and we're going to stay in tune and stay in touch with each other. Hit me up. I will try to respond to every text, every email, every Facebook message, no matter what it is. Any question, no question is a dumb question. Hit me up. You are my employer. I work for you. Let's be clear. Let's get that right. You are my employer. I work for you. So I will always be at your disposal. Hit me up anytime you get ready. We're going to start here at 7 o'clock. We've got an 11-game slate total. We've got a 7:30 turbo. That's a little two-gamer there. And a lot of folks been hit me up saying, man, those 11-game slates, those are too big, man. I'm going to stick to the smaller ones. And that's cool. There's no problem with that. There's money in there, baby. There's money in there. And the beautiful thing about this is, if you're a guy that already notices, like, hey, man, I'm really not feeling those larger slates, man. I want to jump into smaller ones. Let me tell you a little story. Check this out. All right, so we got this 8:30 late slate. There's 3 games, right? Now, we start off here at 7 o'clock. I'm going to be somebody else. And all I'm playing is the main. I got all my lineups in the main. All my money's in the main. So if my main don't jump off, I'm going to have a bad night, right? So I roster see these guys in the 7 o'clock game. My main guy, let's say the guy that I'm really counting on. First game on the slate tomorrow is the Bulls and Orlando Magic. Let's say Jimmy Butler. I'm all over Jimmy Butler. I got him tomorrow. And third quarter or second quarter in this game, an hour and a half after this starts. Second quarter in this game, Jimmy Butler has 6 points, or he has 2 fouls in the first half, or he got ejected, or he got injured. Well, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to tilt my ass off at about 8:25 and just throw some shit in the late. I'm just gonna put some lines together at this 8:30 late slate. I'm just gonna throw some shit in there, right? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm tilting. I'm mad because Jimmy Butler fucking fouled out or whatever happened. If you take your time now to look at the 8:30 late, the 3 gamer, to look at the 7:30 turbo, the 9 o'clock later, the 8 o'clock turbo with 5 games. If you take your time to look at those and actually carefully place lineups in those, you're gonna be ahead of half of the motherfuckers that's in there because half of them just tilted and threw some shit in there. So you've got to really pay attention to these smaller slates. That is where you can make some money there. I'm telling you, bro. Just by taking your time and researching and not just tilting and throwing some shit in there. Because I've done it. Everybody have done it. My main guy gets ejected in the first quarter. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna I'm tilting and I'm just throwing lineups. And I didn't study nothing. I didn't really build a lineup. That wasn't the construction of a roster. That was an angry rage tilt. And it happens all the time. I guarantee you. So pay attention and put some and construct some lineups to put in these. As a matter of fact, we've got an 8 o'clock turbo. Starts an hour after the main slate jumps off. Make you some lineups in there now. Throw them bitches in the main. I'm telling you. You're gonna see the results, bro. You're gonna see it. So let's go ahead and pop this open. Break the seal on this bitch. Now, normally I like to tell you, man, I didn't take a look at anything. But I did. I looked already, and I already know some shit. I already like some shit. We got some shit to talk about. That's just what it is. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, the first thing that's going to stand out to all of you on this slate is that we've got somewhat of a discount on James Harden. James Harden is the highest salaried guy on the slate. He is coming in at 10.9K, going up against the Utah Jazz. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't give a fuck who James Harden is playing. He could be playing the 96 Dream Team. If that motherfucker is under 11K, he deserves consideration from me. I like James Harden tomorrow, especially in a situation where we may not see George Hill. Remember, George Hill just sat out the last game. So the game is in Houston. It's not like it's in Utah and it's going to be, the pace is going to be predicted or set by, the Utah crowd. Or no, the pace is generally dictated by the best player on the floor. And there's no doubt in my mind tomorrow that is James Harden. So James Harden is right now core considerable. He is a guy that I do like. 10.9 is an excellent price on him for what he can do and the upside he does have. I mean, this is a dude that can get you 100 points. What the fuck is that? That's like damn near 9x. You know what I'm saying? So we got to look at James Harden tomorrow. He definitely deserves consideration. Next guy we're talking about, John Wall. Love him. 10.7. But you know what? If I'm paying up for John Wall, and it was in a very plus matchup against the Washington Wizards, against the Denver Nuggets at Denver, I'm just going to buy it. I'm just going to pay it for James Harden. I will have some Wall tomorrow. Don't get me wrong. I might have some Wall Harden tomorrow in certain spots. But, I mean, if I'm going to pay 10.7K for a guy that has a 75-point ceiling, and that's a lifetime ceiling, because I think he might have had a great game early in this year like that. But a guy that has a 100-point ceiling, I'm going to pay that extra 200 and take a shot, take a swing for the fences. Next is Karl-Anthony Towns at 10.6K. Do not let the DVP fool you. I think Karl-Anthony Towns can be a very solid play against the LA Clippers. It's going to be contrarian. A lot of people are not going to want to be on him. Nikola Jokic at 10.3. If he does play, I do like him. I do. He's questionable at the moment, but there's a very good chance that he does play today. Anthony Davis at 10.2 is considerable, but I just rather play Boogie at 10.2K. I just rather play Boogie at 9.9. Boogie is probably not going to get hurt. He still is the glass man. I would rather play Boogie. Anthony Davis going up against the Toronto Raptors. They are at home, so I do see this game being a competitive, solid game. I have no problem with that. Steph Curry at 10.1 deserves consideration as long as we're not going to see Kevin Durant. We can give Steph Curry a look at 10.1 going up against one of the worst on-ball defenders in the league. They're not going to put Avery Bradley on Steph Curry because he's probably going to be guarding Clay. So I can definitely see Steph Curry having a solid game tomorrow. Kawhi Leonard is just priced up too high for me right now. In this matchup, of course, it's a very plus matchup. But at 10K flat, Kawhi Leonard is just too much for me. I cannot deal with that salary, especially in this game that is probably going to blow out. Against the Sacramento Kings, this game is probably going to blow out. DeMarcus Cousins, we talked about him already. I love him at 9.9. It's a play that I'm very interested in. My New York Knicks are going to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. I love Giannis Antetokounmpo to do his thing on the New York Knicks and let his nuts hang all over us at 9.8. That's something that I'm definitely interested in. I have no interest in Jimmy Butler tomorrow at 9.2. Even if Dwayne Wade doesn't play, I do not think that I can get a 55-point game from Jimmy Butler tomorrow. The game is in Orlando. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Isaiah Thomas at 8.8 definitely deserves consideration. I'm not scared of the defense of Steph Curry either. And at 8.8K, going up against a ninth-ranked defense against point guards, I don't think he's going to be very highly owned, but I do like him. DeMar DeRozan at 8.7. He is in play for me. He is in play, 8.7. I like him. We can get DeMar DeRozan under 9K because they were just going crazy when he was almost 9. It was 9K. That was just crazy. But I do like him where he's at. Blake Griffin is a player that I am interested in at 8.6. I do like Chris Paul. We get the discount on him at 8.5. Going up against Ricky Rubio defense, give me some of that Chris Paul tomorrow. And if I like Chris Paul, I automatically like one of his teammates. We talk about that in just a moment. Draymond Green is a player that I'm very interested in. You know we love to attack Boston rebound in the basketball. He's at 8.2K. That is a cheaper way to get exposure to this game, other than Curry or Isaiah Thomas, and you probably don't want to roster Klay Thompson right now. He's just not been shooting the ball very well. Paul George at 8.1K. Am I going to miss on Paul George again? I missed on the last 2 games. I think I'm not going to take a shot on him today either. The price is up a little bit. I'm not on him. Kemba Walker at 8K flat going against the Miami Heat is not a play that I am at all interested in. Shout out to my main man Kemba, but I just don't like that matchup. I do like Gordon Hayward at 7.9. I think that's a solid place for him. Bradley Beal is priced up to 7.8. The dude can go for 40 at any time, but he doesn't do enough peripherally for me to roster him on a slate like the 11-game slate with that much certainty at 7.8. I'm not a fan of that. I love Paul Millsap tomorrow at 7.7 going up against the Brooklyn Nets. The only problem is I like Howard too, and we're gonna get to that in just a moment. But I like Howard too. Hassan Whiteside at 7.7. I think that's a very solid play. You know we can attack the Charlotte Hornets rebound in the basketball. Cody Zeller is probably going to be manning the middle. That means Hassan Whiteside can eat tomorrow. I do like him tomorrow. Carmelo Anthony is a player that I do like at 7.6. He's going to be, of course, going up against the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that's a very winnable matchup for him. Rudy Gobert at 7.6 is a play that I do like. But I think there's somebody else in the center spot that I'm going to be paying up for. Kyle Lowry is out, of course, and we know that Andrew Wiggins is at 7.5 in his matchup against the LA Clippers, and he's going to be seeing some defense from Richard Luke Mute. I'm not afraid of that. I think Andrew Wiggins is one of those guys who's just due for a good game. He's like due for a big game, and I think he can have that definitely tomorrow at home against the LA Clippers. And I do see Ricky Rubio being hampered and slowed down just a touch by Chris Paul defense. Somebody's got to do the scoring. I think it's going to be Andrew Wiggins tomorrow. Andre Drummond at 7.5. I'm just kind of off him. I don't want to play Andre Drummond tomorrow. They're gonna do the hacker Drummond shit. I don't have time for that shit. Fuck that. Dwight Howard, I do like him tomorrow at 7.4K. I'm gonna be waffling between Millsap and Howard because I'm not gonna start them both. I rarely see both of those guys have great games together. I do like both of them in the matchup, so I'm gonna you like everybody against the Brooklyn Nets because they're just a bad team and anybody can score against them. Nikolai Vucevic at 7.3. If he is out tomorrow, you're going to see a lot of people give another try to Biyombo at 5.5. That price is a little up to me, especially when I can pay down for Ian Mahinmi in some spots. Goran Dragic at 7.2. See, I hope Vucevic plays because I don't want to be the guy to not roster Biyombo at 5.5 and he goes out and have another 40-point game or 35-point game. So I hope Vucevic plays tomorrow because then that at least take him out of consideration for me. Goran Dragic at 7.2. He is in play against the Charlotte Hornets. They're not very good on the perimeter, especially Kemba. He's not a very great defender. I'm not scared of his defense. I can get into Goran Dragic tomorrow. Kristaps Porzingis is not a play that I really like at 7.1. Nick Batum at 7.1 is not a play that I really like. Neither is Klay Thompson. I know he could get off against the Boston Celtics, but Avery Bradley is a pretty solid defender. And if anybody goes ham on the Golden State side, I think it'll either be Curry or Draymond. Frank Kaminsky, of course, he is still out. Will probably be out for the rest of the season. Well, I did see a report that said that, but they said that he could be out for another 14 days. I'm not sure exactly. Wilson Chandler, 6.8. The price is up on him. Now, if Jokic doesn't play, I'll give me all the Chandler. I love him if Jokic doesn't play. But if Jokic plays, I'm going to have him sprinkles. Drew Holiday, I kind of like him in this matchup. Whenever you got Boogie and AD, people don't like to roster Drew Holiday because, of course, when they first assembled this team after the All-Star break in the trade, when they brought Boogie over, Drew Holiday hadn't been having pretty decent games. But I think since then, I think the team is settled. They've got a really solid rotation with the way that they bring Boogie in and take AD out, and Drew Holiday usually stays on the floor through both of those cycles. I do like him at 6.8. I love Dennis Schroeder at 6.7 against the Brooklyn Nets. You gotta love anybody against them. DeAndre Jordan is probably my favorite center play on the slate, and pairing him with Chris Paul, I think is going to be very profitable. You're going to see a solid return on that investment because both of those guys are pretty much priced down in the matchup they're in against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Dwayne Wade, I think he's going to play tomorrow. But if he doesn't, I still don't. If he does, I don't like him. If he doesn't, I still don't like Jimmy Butler very much. Jeff Teague deserves consideration at 6.7K. I'm not scared of Reggie Jackson defense. Jeff Teague is a really solid player. I don't see Paul George going ham again. It's kind of Jeff Teague's turn to have a solid game. I could get into him tomorrow at 6.7. Chris Middleton is up only $100, 6.6. Didn't have an overwhelmingly great last game, but against the New York Knicks, man, anything is possible. Do that 6.6K. If we find out that he's going to be on his regular 30-minute limit, which is a huge amount of minutes to be limited to, give me some Chris Middleton. I'm okay with that. George Hill, I hope he doesn't play tomorrow because then I can get all the Harden that I want. At 6.6K, he's a very solid defender. And he might even be matched up with Patrick Beverley. He might be matched up with Patrick Beverley, and we might see, Rodney Hood try to play Harden. Either way, I like Harden. I don't give a fuck. I like Harden tomorrow. Serge Ibaka at 6.6 is not a play that I'm particularly interested in. Neither is Markieff Morris at 6.5. Now, Ricky Rubio, this is the funny thing about Ricky Rubio. In the toughest matchups against point guards, individual matchups against point guards, Rubio has been balling, man. He's been balling out. So I do think he deserves consideration at 6.5. That's a very fair price for what he can do. His upside, the 50 points that he could give you, I kind of like him tomorrow. Both of these teams are kind of up in pace, like to get up and down the court, play a lot in transition. That suits Ricky Rubio's game. I do like him tomorrow. LaMarcus Aldridge is an interesting play. If I was going to roster anybody from the San Antonio side, it would be LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, we need to check the time on this game because if it starts too late, you want to be careful because you might get popped in some situation. This team did play the other night. You never know who's going to rest. Derrick Rose at 6.4 is not a play that I'm interested in. Neither is Otto Porter at 6.4. Dion Waiters at 6.3. We can attack the Charlotte Hornets on the wing at the shooting guard position. The only problem is this dude is such a streaky scorer, such a streaky player. Does he pick up where he left off the other night when he had that awesome first half and then went ice fucking cold and he carries that cold shit into the Hornets game at home in Miami? Or does he play great? He could. He very well could. And for that, I'm going to have some Dion Waiters sprinkled into my lineups. The next guy I'm talking about, Brook Lopez, 6.2, no interest for me. Elfrid Payton at 6.1. I'm gonna ignore the 10th ranked DVP against the point guard position. Elf is pretty much balling right now, and I know it could seem like we're chasing points. He just had a triple double, but the price is still cheap. The dude is 6.1. He can go out and have a solid game and return easily 5 to 6x on that 6.1. I don't have a problem with that. I do like Danilo Gallinari at 6K. We know that is a weakness on the perimeter, on the wing actually, for the Washington Wizards. Aaron Gordon is in play at 6K as well. Marcus Morris is probably one of my favorite plays on the slate at the small forward / power forward position. I love the fact that he has the multi position eligibility there. You can rock him at small forward or power forward. I do like that. 6K is the salary. I think that's very fair for the matchup. He's going to be matched up a lot with Paul George and some. Uh, he's gonna be matching with Paul George some, and he's gonna be playing on the block as well. I think he's gonna be on the block, playing against Thaddeus Young as well. So I do like him tomorrow. That's a very good play there. Greg Monroe, he fucking hates the Knicks. For some reason, he hates the Knicks, and he fucking destroys us every time he plays them. Go check it out. Dude balls out against the Knicks, and I like him at 5.9K. I'm gonna have some Greg Monroe tomorrow. James Johnson, so you know he's one of my favorite players. I love James Johnson. If he does play tomorrow, I do like him against the Charlotte Hornets. He can definitely attack us there. Tim Hardaway Jr., another player that I like. He's priced up to 5.7. I don't have a problem with that. Al Horford is questionable. If he doesn't play, we can definitely go back to the well with Amir Johnson, maybe some Kelly Olynyk. But I do like Al Horford because he's one of the bigs that you can't take off the floor because he can run the floor. And the Golden State Warriors, that is their aim. Their aim is to take your center off of the floor, beat you with the small ball. But Al Horford is a guy that can stay out there in those circumstances. So if he does play, I knew he had an inflamed elbow. If he does play, I do kind of like him. Tyler Johnson at 5.6 is a player that I don't mind if he does play tomorrow. I know he's questionable right now. I don't mind. Miles Turner is a no for me. Malcolm Brogdon at 5.5, not a player that I really like. Willie Hernangomez is a no for me at 5.5. I do like Jay Crowder at 5.5K going up against the Golden State Warriors. Evan Fournier is in play for me at 5.5 against the Chicago Bulls. Bismack, the price is up on him. 5.5, that's a lot to pay for a guy that's like was 3K the other day. Like 2,500, that's a big jump. I don't know if I'm ready to commit to that much. Like, I don't know if I like Bismack that much because he can go out and dud out and at the highest price he's been recently. That happens all the time. And I'm just hoping that Vucevic plays so that's something we don't even have to deal with. Because I hate being forced into playing this guy because I don't want him to go 7x and I don't have him. But I don't want to pay 5.5K for him. And he goes out and gets 2 quick fouls, and then the next big comes in and fucking balls out. So I don't want that to happen. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a player that I really like at 5.5. We know we can attack the Indiana Pacers on the perimeters, most specifically at that shooting guard spot. Derek Favors is questionable. Probably if he does play, I don't like him anyway. Andre Iguodala has been playing very well lately. 5.4K. That's a very modest price. I have no problem with that. I do like Marvin Williams at 5.5. If we don't see James Johnson, Cody Zeller is in play. I'm not scared of Hassan Whiteside defensively, so I can play Cody Zeller at 5.5K. I don't have a problem with that. Tobias Harris is not a player that I am particularly interested in. Neither is Paul Gasol at 5.4. Gary Harris is a no for me. Terrence Ross is yes at 5.3. Corey Joseph, I just don't play Corey Joseph. I don't like to play him. He's just not very good, so I don't play him. Now, Gordon Tyler's down to 5.2. Dude was just 6.8. He's down to 5.2. Going against the Denver Nuggets. These are 2 Euro guys. Marcin Gortat could bounce back tomorrow. He could have a bounce back game. And at 5.2K, you're not asking very much from him. You're really not. So he is a play to consider, actually. Marcus Smart at 5.2 is in play for me. I kind of like him. Mason Plumlee is an automatic plug-and-play if Jokic doesn't play. But if Jokic does play, I don't like him very much. Gorgui Dieng is the player that I kind of like at 5.1. I do like Avery Bradley if he gets a full allotment of minutes. And it's probably going to come out later on today that he's not going to get his full allotment of minutes, so I won't be on him. I like Reggie Jackson's spot at 5.1. I probably won't have much Bojan Bogdanovic, but because he's been shooting so well lately, I'm going to have him maybe sprinkled in a lineup or two. Pat Beverly at 5K is not a player that I'm particularly interested in. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is a no for me at 5K. Darren Collison, I love Darren Collison. Let's look at the last few games for the San Antonio Spurs. All right. Ricky Rubio, destroyed. 50. Harden, destroyed him. 60 plus. Darren Collison at 5K. Can he get 30 points? Hell fuck yeah, he can. I like Darren Collison tomorrow. And then the best part about this game is most people are not going to run a roster. Collison, they're going to go Lawson. And Lawson is only 100 cheaper. I think Collison has a better game than Lawson tomorrow. Courtney Lee, 4.9. Excuse me, today. 4.9 is not a player that I really like at court for Courtney Lee. Jameer Nelson is in play at 4.9. The price is very cheap on him. He's starting. We don't see Moutier anymore. We barely see Jamal Murray off of the bench. I like Jameer Nelson tomorrow. Rajon Rondo is questionable if he does play. I am not a huge fan of his. Um, Shout out to Dwayne Henning, bro, for tipping the waiter. Just saw that. Appreciate you, man. Dwayne Henning. Dwayne Henning, thank you, bro. You have no idea what you just did. That is in support of my family, support of my baby girls, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate your hospitality. Thank you for having the class to tip your waiter, man. You didn't have to do that, but you did it, and thank you so much. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Real talk. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. Ty Lawson, 4.9K. I'm gonna hedge a little bit. I'm gonna have one or two shares of Lawson, but I'm gonna be way more heavy on probably on Darren Collison tomorrow. Willie Cauley-Stein is not a play that I particularly like at 4.9. The only thing that kind of gives me, that gives me some semblance of hope that he has a solid overall outing is because the game could blow out, and if the game blows out, they still give him play anyway. They still give him play, and I foresee this game blowing out. I really do. Will Barton, man, what? Somebody find Will Barton. Is Will Barton under there? Where the fuck is Will Barton? The dude is going missing. Hasn't been playing well lately at all, bro. And I don't like him at all. Tyreek Evans at 4.8. No for me. I do like Rodney Hood. That's one of my favorite players on the slate. Or players, period. I just like Rodney Hood's game. Man. I like him. And at 4.7, if we know he's going to get all of his minutes, we know he had that arrest coming off of the bench last time. I think they did that so they could kind of give him some rest, play him, give him some rest, play him. I love him tomorrow. Go up against James Harden defense. I think that's a really solid play there. But once we investigate the point totals a little further, that's when I can make my overall determination. Clint Capella at 4.7 is not a play that I'm particularly interested in. I don't like to start centers against Rudy Gobert. He's just so good defensively that I don't want to take that shot. Kent Bazemore, he is not dead to me, but he is very close. He's on life support again. Kent is on life support again. Sean Kilpatrick, if I want to get really freaky and get jiggy with it at 4.6K and I want some exposure to Brooklyn against the Atlanta Hawks, because I do like to attack them on the perimeter, he is somebody that I'm going to be looking at. I don't like Trevor Booker at all tomorrow. Bobby Portis is not in play at 4.6. Neither is Sweet Lou Williams at 4.6. I do not like his game at all. Ish Smith is in play at 4.6 for me. I like John Lure at 4.6. Jeremy Lin, we know he's still going to be on somewhat of a minutes limit. 4.5K. I'm not interested in that. Joe Ingles at 4.5. You don't play Joe Ingles now because we're going to see Rodney Hood for the starters minutes, so I don't do that. Ronnie Hollis Jefferson could be a solid play at 4.4K. I do like him tomorrow. Jonas Valanciunas is very cheap at 4.4K. The only thing is he just doesn't get the minutes, man. And actually, who the fuck is playing center for the Toronto Raptors? This dude gets like 18 minutes in a game. Who the fuck is playing center? It's not Baby Noguera. It's fucking the fuck is playing center for them? It's Ibaka. Ibaka's on the court for most of the fucking time, shooting 30-foot jumpers and shit. Like that Valanciunas play, bro. When he's out there, he's getting rebounds, he's scoring. Let him play. Ursan Ilyasova at 4.3 is not a play that I'm particularly interested in. Maybe some scrub love for him. Eric Gordon is a no for me. I don't like Eric Gordon. Trevor Ariza, the price is so low on Ariza. I think he could be a solid contrarian play tomorrow. I mean, 4.3 for a guy who's starting, running up and down the court with James Harden. He could benefit from that because I don't think Clint Capella is. Jaylen Brown at 4.2 is not a play that I'm particularly interested in. Not with Avery Bradley coming back. I do like Amir Johnson if we don't see Al Horford. Robin Lopez is in play for me at 4.2. He is. I like Robin Lopez as a cheap salary saving option at the center spot. Josh Richardson, 4.2. I like him if we don't see Johnson and Johnson again. I kind of like him. Lance Thomas is a no for me. Kenneth Reed is out, so that is all good. Tony Parker at 4.1 deserves consideration going up against the Sacramento Kings tomorrow. He does deserve consideration. He really does. That's a very cheap price for Tony Parker. Davos Valosha, I kind of like him at 4K. O'Quinn at 4K is a no for me. JJ Redick is the lowest priced I've seen him so far this year. And there's no Zach LaVine to guard him. He's going to be matched up with Brandon Rush. 4K, I don't have a problem with that tomorrow. I really don't. That could be a very cheap way to stack the LA Clippers. I'm talking, Chris Paul, JJ Redick, and your choice of Blake Griffin and or DeAndre Jordan. I kind of like that. I do. Just off the first glance, I kind of like that. He picked up 2 early fouls last game, And then we saw a ton of uh, the coach's son as well as Jamal Crawford, who we did talk about in that show. But I kind of like DJ Redick tomorrow. Nami Bielita, that phenomenon is over at 4K. I'm not fucking with that. Nick Mirotic 4K, not really. Ryan Anderson is questionable. If he doesn't play, that makes me really want to get a piece of Ariza if we don't see Ryan Anderson tomorrow. CJ Miles, I still like him at 4K. He's a very solid play there. Thad Young, the price is all the way down on Thad Young. When is he gonna have a turnaround game, man? 4K, that's a very cheap price for him. PJ Tucker at 4K, I'm not interested in him at all. Neither Matthew Dellavedova or Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray could be in play. Jamal Crawford is up to 3.9. Don't like that. I like Jaja Pachulia at 3.9 as a salary saving option. Punt play at the center position. Monte Ellis at 3.9 deserves consideration. Michael Carter Williams is a no for me. Terrence Jones, I got to see him play first. I got to see what he can do, how the rotation looks. This is Jason Kidd, coach team. We don't want to go ham with that. The coach's son's at 3.8. I kind of like him there. Kelly Olynyk, of course, if we don't see if we don't see Horford, I'd rather play Kelly Olynyk over Amir Johnson. Just because in this game, I think they're going to have to do some scoring, have to do some three-point shooting. I think Kelly Olynyk can really fit the bill in this game. Alec Burks at 3.8 is not a play for me with Hood, Ingles playing. If we know we're not going to see George Hill or we're not going to see Joe Johnson, then yeah, he comes into play. But if all of those guys are healthy and playing, we don't need Alec Burks. DeMarc Carroll is questionable, probably will not play tomorrow. Buddy Hield at 3.8, that's a very low price for him. He's going to see minutes in a blowout or if the game stays close, so I kind of like that right there. Costa Kufos is not in play for me. Neither is Tony Snell at 3.7, who actually had a really great game last time out. And Pat McCall, if he does get the start at 3.7K, I think we can look to roster him tomorrow. Today, excuse me. I'm sorry. You know what I'm doing. All right, Willie Reed, no. Norman Powell, yes. Give me some of that Norman Powell at 3.7. They have finally decided to let him get some minutes and let him go ahead and play. I thought the reason why they traded Terrence Ross so that they could unleash Norman Powell, but they hadn't been giving him the run. They just hadn't. Dwayne Dedmon has not been getting the run as well at 3.7. Neither has David Lee. I don't like those guys. But the game could blow out. If you think the San Antonio game is going to blow out, you can get you some Dwayne Dedmon. Neely Hilario at 3.6. I kind of like him if we don't see, because I think we're going to see some subpar play from Capella, and then I think Nene is going to come in and play very well against the Utah second team. He's been doing that lately already, so I kind of like him tomorrow as another cheap salary saving option at that center spot. Wayne Ellington is in play if those guys are injured again in Miami. Etwan Moore is a no for me. Danny Green, yes. Karis LeVert, 3.5. That's a good way to look. That's a good look. I kind of like Karis LeVert at 3.5. Now we get into the cheaper plays. These are the guys that can separate you in GPPs, give you that money to pay up for your Harden, pay up for your Karl Anthony Towns, your Boogies, your Anthony Davises. Guys like this. This is where you find value. I like a few of these guys. Let's go ahead and find that 3K play of the day, the guy that comes in at minimum salary that we can take a look at and get in our rosters and really give us a solid return. Maybe some 10x value on that. Maybe some Magruder Whitehead at 3K. Randy Foye is probably going to be getting a start, but we don't want to play him. Torian Prince, no. Nicholson, Mike Muscala, no. You know who I'm looking for because he's still 3K. He just balled out last night. Ian Mahinmi at 3K, going up against the 20th ranked DVP against the center position. He's going to be seeing some second team guys on Denver that like to shoot threes and stand around and not rebound. People like Darrell Arthur. He's going to be seeing those cats. I like him tomorrow. I think Ian Mahinmi is today's version of Bismack Biyombo. He's somebody we can definitely get in our lineups. Now that we've gone over the player pricing for today's Monster 11 game slate, let's go ahead and jump into the point totals. And the reason for this is we want to know which games to target. So I'm going to tell you, if you, and this has pluses and minuses, much like anything, because I'm going to tell you the difference between what we can do and what, the Sharks can do. Those guys with those huge bankrolls, okay? Like, let's go ahead and talk about it really quick. So this 3-game slate that we just had last night. Pretty much everybody that went off some of us in the sweatshop had exposure to, because there was only a pool of what, 15 players per team. It was 6 teams, right? So you do the math on that, right? You had 30 players in 3 games. You had a total of 90 something players, 90 players that could be rostered. Well, if there's 1,000 of us playing, I guarantee you, anybody that had a good game, we had them on our team. Well, today there is an 11 game slate. That is a huge jump from 90 players in the pool to a few hundred players in the pool, right? So the Sharks, the guys that multi-entry that can afford, to buy all of those different lineups, all of those different entries, they have the same advantage in an 11 game slate that we have in a 3 game slate. And that's why what I would like you to do is center yourself around the point totals. Find the games, the point totals that you are most comfortable with. And that's why other areas of, we'll just say sports betting because we don't have a better word, coming into play. Like we've got cats in the sweatshop, in the VIP that get into the prop bets where they can take bets on individual players, over unders on how many rebounds a guy will get, over unders on how many assists a guy will get, and they use those prop bets in their roster construction, in their player selection, excuse me. So uh, all of these things play a major role in building a solid 8-man roster on DraftKings or a 9-man roster on FanDuel. The first thing you need to look at is the point totals. See what the spread is. See how much overall points both teams are supposed to have. Check out the actual team total for each team. That way, let's say you got a 10-point spread, but you got a 240, a 230 point total. Well, whoever is on the winning end of the spread is there's a lot of goodness in there. Maybe some stackability on that side. So that's why you've got to pay attention to every facet of the game the way I'm laying it out to you. And this is what we do in the sweatshop. Like we chop it up like this all day long. This is just me, being real with you. This is what we do all day long. So let's go ahead and jump to the point totals for today's 11 game slate. We're going to start in Orlando with one of the lowest point totals on the slate. It is a 203 point total with the Chicago Bulls going to Orlando, giving up 1.5 points. And let's talk about this because now the most expensive play in this game is going to be Jimmy Butler. Do I want to invest 9.2K in the lowest point total on the slate? I got to ask myself a question. No, I don't. I don't. There's not very much from the game that I actually like. Granted, if we don't see Dwayne Wade, of course, the usage goes up. He sees the ball a lot more, but I just don't think he can parlay that into damn near 60 DraftKings points that he's going to need, 55 DraftKings points that he's going to need in order to make that 6x value. I think I can get that from other places in bigger point totals, bigger team totals. So I won't be fucking with him tomorrow. Now, do I like anybody else on the team? Not really. The only guy that I kind of like is going to be Robin Lopez because he's so cheap at 4.2K. Going to be maybe matched up against Vucevic and or Biyombo. I don't have a problem with that. If Vooch does play, I don't want to play him in his first game back off of that injury. If Biyombo is going to be starting at 5.5K, I don't want to have him everywhere because he's just not cheap enough. Elfrid Payton is definitely in play here. Evan Fournier is going to be in play in some spots. So there's a few things you can like about the Orlando side, but it's not much for me on the Chicago Bulls side. Next game I'm going to talk about is probably a game that we're going to have a lot invested in. This is the Brooklyn Nets going to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. It's a 219 point total. Luckily, the Brooklyn Nets are arriving on tonight, so they're probably not going to be hitting the strip club or anything like that because it's only a Tuesday. But it's $2 Tuesdays. I don't know. Hopefully they won't hit the strip club because last time a team went to Atlanta, they hit the sauce real hard, came out very flat. So let's go ahead and check out the point total. It is 219 points with the Atlanta Hawks giving up 9.5. And this is a team that just got drummed a couple of games ago. And I don't think the Atlanta Hawks can just be running around giving up points to motherfuckers. They're not very that good. They're really not. So the Brooklyn Nets, road dog, 9.5 point underdog. I think they keep this game just close enough to where we see a full allotment of minutes from the Atlanta guys. And I like Dwight Howard. I kind of like Millsap. I like Howard more than Millsap in this game just because he's going to be matched up with Brook Lopez. But Brook Lopez can take him away from the basket, shoot the deep jump shot, which will help Paul Millsap. So if I had to choose a way to go in this game, it would definitely be Paul Millsap. I like Schroeder. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. can be a very solid play in this game. On the Brooklyn Nets side, we've got some of the cheaper guys I like. We talked about Karis LeVert. We talked about Rondae Hollis Jefferson. We talked about staying away from Brook Lopez, staying away from Jeremy Lin, not playing Trevor Booker. I don't think the game is going to be paced up fast enough for him to really get off and get out in transition. So there's not a lot to like on the Brooklyn side, but the cheaper guys. But on Atlanta side, I like a few of those cats. Next game I'm going to talk about is the Miami Heat playing host to the Charlotte Hornets. This is also a surprisingly low point total. 205 points is the total, man. You look at the pace going to be dictated by the best player on the floor. The problem is, who's that going to be? It could be Nick Batum. It could be Kemba Walker. It could be Hassan Whiteside. It could be Goran Dragic. It could even be Dion Waiters. There's no bona fide superstar guy that's going to just take over this game and that we can predict with certainty. So there's a lot to really muddle through when you talk about this game. I like Whiteside in the spot. Just automatically looking at the point total, looking at the point spread, I like Whiteside. I think I can get 4 quarters of Whiteside, a huge double-double, maybe 18 and 15 rebounds with a couple of blocks and a couple of steals. I like that. That's what I think I'm going to get from Whiteside tomorrow. I'm not going to test the Miami perimeter when it comes to the point guard spot, so I would roll Batum before I roll Kemba. I'm not really in love with Goran Dragic, although I think Dion Waiters can be a solid way to attack the perimeter for the Charlotte Hornets or against the Charlotte Hornets. If James Johnson does play, I like him. Tyler Johnson can be solid. This game, if you get this game right, man, it can really help you towards the rest of the night. The next game I'm going to talk about is probably going to be my favorite game on the slate. I am definitely going to watch this game. It's an 8 o'clock game. It is 214.5 points. That is the total. The Houston Rockets are giving up 6.5 at home, and we know what the Rockets can do shooting the ball at home. This is an exceptionally good shooting team when you're at home. Check the splits. I love James Harden. One of my favorite plays on the slate. He is priced at 10.9K. Anytime you get Harden that cheap, you got to jump all over him, bro. You just got to do it. No matter the matchup. The dude is matchup proof. He is beyond reproach. He is above the matchup. So you got to start this guy. You got to. I like him. I like him a lot. Also, I think we need to give consideration if Ryan Anderson is out to Trevor Ariza. I kind of like him in the spot that he's at. Who does start for him, though? Do we see Sam Dekker get a start? If he's out? Because if that's true, we can look to him for the cheap. So there's a few different ways we can go in this game. On the Utah side, I like Gordon Hayward some. I do. And I also think that if George Hill plays, he can see some solid run. If he does play and he's fine and he's healthy and everything is good. Patrick Beverly, really not on him, but I think he can be a solid play. And Rudy Gobert, man, I would like Rudy Gobert a lot more if DeAndre Jordan wasn't priced so low on the slate. Because DeAndre Jordan is 6.7, Rudy Gobert is 7.6. I would like Gobert a lot more if DeAndre Jordan just wasn't so cheap. So I won't be having too much Rudy Gobert. Next game I'm going to talk about is the Detroit Pistons going to Indiana to take on the Pacers. This is a 206.5 point total, with the Indiana Pacers giving up 3.5 points. Instantaneously, I've got this feeling about KCP. I am feeling KCP right now. He is in my thoughts right now. I kind of like KCP, and the last time I felt this way about KCP, the dude went out and dropped 50, and the last time before that, I felt this way about KCP. He went out and dropped 50. So I'm gonna sleep on it and see if I feel the same way once I wake up. If I do, give me all the KCP. But I do like him in this matchup. I think we can rock with Drummond for you is cool. I'm just not playing that dude. I'm not playing Drummond. I'm still pissed off about him not being able to shoot free throws. I'm just not playing him. I do like Marcus Morris. I think Marcus Morris has a solid game in here. I like him a lot. Not too much on Reggie Jackson. Could have a good game. Jeff Teague was where I would go at the point guard spot in this game. If I wanted a point guard for this game, I'll just go ahead and grab Jeff Teague because these guys are subpar defenders, man. They're not very good perimeter defenders when you talk about the point guard position. So I do like Jeff Teague in this matchup. I think we can also give consideration to Miles Turner matched up against Andre Drummond. I think can be a solid play. Maybe I was a game or so early on him. He was a core 4 play that did not pan out very well. Next game I'm going to talk about is the New York Knicks going to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. 211.5 points is the total. I think you can pair Chris Middleton and Giannis up easily and still fill out the rest of your roster with some stuff that you like. I do think that Carmelo deserves consideration. I'm not going to be on Porzingis much in this game, and I like Greg Monroe, man. Greg Monroe, well, I think the bad blood he had with the Knicks was there was a time we were courting him. We wanted Greg Monroe, and he, was almost about to sign an offer sheet with us, but he didn't. And then the Knicks owner went out and said a few things about him, and ever since then, every time he plays us, he fucking destroys it. You can stat music like he destroys the Knicks. He hates us, and that's cool. I get that. I hate the Knicks too, but I'm a Knicks fan. So what? All right, so Derrick Rose is a no for me. Courtney Lee, not so much. I don't like him very much. There's not too much I like about the Knicks at all, with the exception of Carmelo Anthony. I think he's going to have a solid game. He's going to have a solid game in order to keep the Knicks in this game. It's only a 5-point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. The total, of course, is 211.5 points. I have no problem with Carmelo in this spot. The next game I'm going to talk about is the LA Clippers going to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. It is a 211-point total, but check it out. It's only a -3. That means the Minnesota Timberwolves are receiving 3 points from the Clippers. That makes them a home dog. There's a lot of fight in the home dog. I love the home dog. And I think Minnesota can be a very solid play. Even if you wanted to stack them, Towns, Rubio, and Wiggins can be a solid one. I like Wiggins in this game. He's my favorite play from the Minnesota side. And I think I'm going to have some Wiggins in a lot of different spots. I do like him tomorrow. On the LA Clippers side, we talked about a few of these guys already. I love Chris Paul, the spot he's in, going up against Ricky Rubio defense. Because I love Chris Paul, I automatically like the guy that's going to benefit most from him being on the court. That is DeAndre Jordan. The price is down 6.7. Give me some of that. The price is even down on Chris 8.5. Anytime you got Chris Paul under 9K healthy, you can give him a shot. I do like him tomorrow. I keep saying tomorrow. I do like him today. Excuse me. Also, Blake Griffin does deserve consideration in the spot that he's in. However, you may be able to get the same production from a guy like Gorgui Dieng for 5.1K. So I'm not too hard pressed to roster Blake. I'd much rather go ahead with DeAndre Jordan, pair him with Chris Paul. If I need to get that third guy in there, if I'm trying to stack him in one of the turbos, because this is one of the 8 o'clock turbo games, I believe, I can go with JJ Redick and be fine. Next game I'm going to talk about is a very low point total. The New Orleans Pelicans are at home playing host to the Toronto Raptors. And it's funny because the Pelicans are giving up 2.5 points to the Toronto Raptors. So now, you really see this team is not the same without Kyle Lowry. And this is a 203-point total. If I had to choose between Anthony Davis and Boogie, I would choose Boogie just about every fucking time. Just because and he's going to get hurt again. Something's going to happen. He's going to jump across something and bang his knee, scrape his knee or something. He's going to be hurt. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. It always happens. So, I would much rather have Boogie in this matchup particularly than to have AD, because if Boogie's in the center and you got AD playing on the perimeter chasing Serge Ibaka 3-point shooting ass around, that means Boogie's going to eat up all the rebounds, get all the putbacks. I like that. Give me some of that Boogie tomorrow. He's somebody who I'm going to have in quite a few of my lineups. I do like Jrue Holiday as well. See, the funny thing is, when I like AD a lot, then I like Jrue Holiday, because those guys, pair well together. But I'm probably not going to pair Holiday and Boogie in a lot of lineups, but more so hedge. Like, if I like Boogie, but I do like Holiday in this matchup just because he's going up against Corey Joseph, who's a very overrated defender. He's a bench warmer. He's not even a starter. He's not very good. They priced him up. He's not been playing well. Anyway, I think that Jrue Holiday is going to cook him tomorrow. I don't have any problem rostering him. On the Toronto side, the only guy that I can roster with confidence is going to be DeMar DeRozan. He's pretty much all they have. I like DeMar DeRozan. I like also at 3.7K, Norman Powell is somebody that we talked about already. I think we can look to him as well. Don't know what to do as far as the bigs are concerned. Is Serge Ibaka going to be knocking down shots? Because if the shot is on, he's money. Is he going to do that against AD? Probably not. So I'm going to be fucking with him. Next game I'm going to talk about is the Sacramento Kings going to San Antonio to take on the Spurs. This is a 15-point spread, bro. It's only 200. 200 is the total. And it's a 15-point spread. I don't want shit to do with the San Antonio side, especially the guys that's uber expensive. Like you're talking about 10K. You're gonna be to invest 10,000. You're gonna be to invest 1/5 of my complete DraftKings salary in a 15-point blowout. No. And I'm not a guy that oversells the blowout narrative, but I've been watching basketball long enough to know, man, Sacramento Kings, they fucking shit. They're a horrible team. And the San Antonio Spurs are a decent team. They're gonna beat the shit out of them. This game's gonna be over way before it's over. And I'm not fucking with Kawhi. If I go anywhere, I'm gonna be rostering Sacramento guys that are gonna play whether it's close or whether it's a blowout. Willie Cauley-Stein doesn't play for me. I do like Darren Collison a lot in this game. I think he can exploit the matchup with the old man, Tony Parker. I have no problem with that. On the San Antonio side, if I'm going to get some scrub love, maybe some Deadman, maybe some Bertans, if I really want to pay all the way down. Uh, Jonathan Simmons, maybe. I'm not starting the starters. I'm not. I know the starters got to do the blowing out. Somebody got to do the blowing out. But this is not true because the San Antonio Spurs, the rotation, the second team could blow the fucking doors off of this. So when you have say if the Cleveland Cavaliers are favored by 10 points, pretty much you know who's going to do the blowing out because their bench sucks. You know who's going to do the blowing out. LeBron, Kyrie's going to do the blowing out, so you can roster them in a blowout. Uh, Same thing has been true with the Golden State Warriors this year. Golden State Warriors in a 22-point spread. Well, who the fuck is going to do the blowing out? It's not the bums they have on the bench. The bench is not good anymore, so it's going to be the big four. And San Antonio's not like that. Their bench is pretty good too. So if they're going to blow Sacramento out, it's not going to just be a blowout from Kawhi. It's going to be a blowout from everybody. So that's going to take me off a lot of the San Antonio starters. And if I'm going to go anywhere in San Antonio, I'm going to go with some of the bench guys. And I'm going to rock with some of the Sacramento guys. They're going to play whether it's a blowout or not. Some of the guys they want to play and see where they're at. Some of the Buddy Hields, some of the Willie Cauley-Steins, guys like that. Maybe some Collison, maybe. Next game I'm going to talk about is the Washington Wizards going to Denver to take on the Nuggets. This is an exceptional spread in total. This is a 227-point total with a 1-point spread. I love that. That means we can roster motherfuckers from anywhere all over this game on both sides. I love that. That means the team total is, well above 100. And that's fine. I like that. I love John Wall in this spot. I think he is in line for another big game. I think we can look to Bradley Beal in some spots. He is priced up at 7.8K, but I'm not terribly upset about that. I'm not. Otto Porter could bounce back in this game. He's seen some pretty bad ones lately. Could bounce back in this game. We talked about Gortat only being 5.2K. He is rosterable in some situations. And the only guy that I kind of would stay away from is Markieff Morris, just because I don't know what I'm going to get from him on a night-to-night basis. The floor on him is so low that I'm just not sure what I'm going to get. So I'm not too set on Markieff Morris. On the Denver side, Gary Harrison is in play. Jameer Nelson is in play. Nikola Jokic, if he does play, definitely in play. If Jokic is out, that means Mason Plumlee is a stone cold lock for me. I'm going to be running a lot of two-center lineups with Ian Mahinmi and for the cheap and Mason Plumlee, getting my Harden on. I am. That's how I would do it. You can also look if we don't see Jokic, probably the biggest beneficiary to that is going to be Wilson Chandler because he has free reign to not only work hard on the boards but turn those into transition buckets, whether he is starting the break and finishing it with a dunk, or he's starting the break and he's assisting the ball down court. So that's probably the biggest beneficiary to Jokic not playing. So we need to stay in tune with that and make sure we find out the news on that, because this is one of the later games, man. So we've got to know this well before our lineups lock. We've got to. Next game I'm going to talk about, and the last game on the slate, is going to be the Boston Celtics going to Golden State, taking on the Warriors. They're at the Oracle. This is a 223-point total, with the Golden State Warriors giving up 8 points to the Boston Celtics. Now, I don't know if the Golden State Warriors can actually give up points because they've been looking pretty bad lately. And Splash Brothers ain't been splashing on shit. They haven't been knocking them down. I think they combined for a really bad percentage shooting from behind the arc. And as long as that continues, they're going to be beatable. So for that, I think that Isaiah Thomas is definitely in play on the Boston side. If Al Horford does play and we know he's going to be fine, I do like him in the spot that he's at. Like I said earlier, he's a center that can't run off the floor. He's going to be able to run up and down the court with him, so I like him there. If he's not playing, Kelly Olynyk is going to be a player that I really like more than Amir Johnson. Jerebko may not play as well. So there's a few injuries on the Boston side that we need to be paying attention to. Avery Bradley, if he's on that hard minutes restriction, I don't like him. If he's not, I kind of do. I think Marcus Smart can be handy off of the bench on the Golden State side. Curry or Draymond would be probably the only places I would go and be able to roster a guy with full confidence. If I wanted to take a punt center approach, I could roster Jaja Pachulia at 3.9K, maybe off of the bench at 5.4, get a little bit of Andre Iguodala. This is going to be a really nice slate, man. And the more I look at it, the more confidence I'm building in it. So I guarantee you, by the time I go out and I see what all them other motherfuckers is talking about, and I go grab that information and I bring it back to my homies in the shop, and we hop in the motherfucking midday mix, bruh, we gonna get to the money today. I'm telling you. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Thank you so much for your support of the show. If you wanted to support the show further, box over there, click it. It says support the show. Go ahead and let it take you where it has to. Also, copy some DFS Sweatshop swag. We got hats. Excuse me. We got t-shirts. We've got the hoodies, everything. Ladies t-shirts, everything, whatever you need, we got it. I've got the hats coming soon. I'm going to be taking orders for those. I'm negotiating a deal with Lids to where I can get some at a discounted price so that I can outfit the entire sweatshop. Also, if you want to support my personal PayPal, you can do so at simmonsmaurice95 at gmail.com. simmonsmaurice95 at yahoo.com. Excuse me. Also, if you want to become a full-fledged member of the DFS Sweatshop, it is very simple. Just go to the website www.dfssweatshop.com. That is where you will receive all of the tips, tricks, and tutelage to turn you into a daily fantasy sports player. If you are already a profitable daily fantasy sports player and you want to jump into the best Facebook group of guys, hit up the website. Go ahead and get in there, man. I'd love to have you. The family is growing. I'm very happy about the direction that we're going in. We've got a lot of new stuff coming when baseball starts and at the end of basketball season. So stay tuned for that. Again, this is your DFS Jerusalem imploring you, begging you, pleading with you to always, always keep it 300.